Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Shadowpact Nightmaster. This is the second red platinum in the line. This is part of the wave that had the Flesher Superman, Dark Flash, and Tempest. This guy will be randomly packed in with cases of those figures. They're starting to hit stores. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Braden from Instagram for finding this for me and reaching out. It is much appreciated. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, ages 12 plus. DC Multiverse Nightmaster, McFarlane Platinum Edition. This is a red platinum, which means it's not a platinum chase variant. There is no regular version. They're just randomly added into the cases. Arguably, the red platinums are a little bit easier to find than the silver platinums. One side of the package, Nightmaster from Shadowpact. Other side, Nightmaster. At the bottom, looks like GameStop covered up his original barcode with their own barcode. And on the back side, here he is, posed up from the comics. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand, a collector's card, and then his sword, which is a Sword of Night. Before I take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Nightmaster. His real name is James Rook. He was a musician. Him and his girlfriend were transported from their shop, Oblivion Incorporated, to another dimension. Rook discovered that he was the heir to the Mirren hero Nightshade, and he accepted his ancestor's Sword of Night. After liberating Mara from evil warlocks, Rook and Janet returned to Earth, and Nightmaster joined Shadowpact and eventually became their leader. They're a bunch of superpowered vigilantes, and I believe Ragman from the Collector's Wave is a member of that group as well. So let's take a closer look. Starting with his head here, it's a fairly basic design. It almost looks like sort of a knight's outfit. Looks like it's just totally spandex. He's got this sort of blue, I don't know, it's not really a mask or a helmet, but just sort of thing covering him up. Looks like a helmet would go on top of that. He has a red soft goods cape, and there is no bendy wire. Kind of surprised me. I was sure there would be one. Looks like it's done on the Blue Beetle boosticle body. I can recognize the weird little abs at the top, the wrists, the boots and ankles. Now he has this little black spots all over him, and I don't really know what's up with that. All the pictures online seem to have just a solid blue suit. I don't know if it's just dirty or what, but it looks kind of bad. Big N in the middle for Nightmaster. Double jointed elbows and knees. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. His expression makes him look kind of sad and depressed. And I guess I would be too if I was such an obscure hero that even D Hunter hadn't heard of him. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane display stand we've seen countless times before. And then we also have his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Nightmaster holding that sword. Nightmaster from Shadowpact. On the back side there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Now for his sword. This is the Sword of Night. Only descendant of the Mirren hero Not can even yield or lift the sword. And that's exactly what Nightmaster is, an heir to the throne. So, pretty basic looking sword. Blade looks pretty good, and the handle has nice sculpt and detail. And then here's Nightmaster wielding that sword. He only has a gripping hand in his left hand, and he's not a left-handed hero, but he has to hold the sword with the left hand, at least with the action figure. Now let's check out the differences and similarities between Nightmaster and Blue Beetle. The Blue Beetle body first debuted in the Blue Beetle Booster Gold 2-pack and has been used many times since. So let's take a look. Starting with their heads, obviously, they're completely different. As you go further down, it looks like the torso and stomach are the same. The sort of diaper or shorts, at least the belt is different. Looks like the rest is probably the same. The arms, down to the hands. Well, the hands are a little bit different. Just a different choice of fists they use from McFarlane's selection. And the boots are exactly the same. You can even see that cut at the top. So they're 100% the same figure, except for the head, the hands, and the paint job. Here are all the McFarlane figures that utilize the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body We have 30 of them so far, and it's not a bad, generic, all-purpose body. Here are my complaints. The top two abs that are disconnected from the rest, it's very noticeable and looks kind of weird. The wrists can look awkward depending on how you have them turned or hinged. And sometimes the ankles are ratcheted in a way where it can be hard for him to stand without bending the knee. And they've made some really odd decisions on this body. Almost all of them have this weirdly odd sculpted boot cut, which is inaccurate to the majority of these figures. But look at how many characters we've gotten based off this body. So many unique characters we never would have gone another way. From Nightmaster, to Deadman, to Animal Man, Mr. Zaz, Agent Liberty, etc. If it's the only way to get these characters, then bring it on. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 6.9 or 7 inches tall, which can translate to just under 18 centimeters. And for his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, you can rotate side to side. He can look up, not very much, down about that far. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up way more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increase the range of motion, and covering a large gap that would be there. Bicep cut, double jointed elbows, his wrist, it can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. He's got ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back, another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in the torso. You get more of the torso than the waist on this guy. Legs, complete as splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is pretty much non-existent. Legs go forward, about that far. Back not much. Double jointed knees. And his ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt. Rock. And of course, toe articulation. Here's a look at Nightmaster in a medieval castle type setting, wielding his sword. In a slightly different pose of Nightmaster in that same setting. Now let's check him out next to some of their action figures. Starting off with some of their McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's Nightmaster next to Ragman. Ragman is the only other member of Shadowpact that McFarlane has made so far. The platinum version of Ragman on the right with the darker outfit is specifically from Shadowpact. He didn't wear that the entire time, but that is what that look is based off of. The Shadowpact team consists of Blue Devil, Detective Chimp, Enchantress, Nightmaster, Nightshade, Ragman, Warlock's Daughter, and Zariel. I doubt they'll ever complete that team, but they might make one or two more members. And then here's Nightmaster, next to the Shining Knight. They kind of both have medieval vibes to them, swords, chainmail, and armor, that sort of stuff. And they're both platinum figures, something else they have in common. And since this Cyborg Superman is a Platinum Chase variant, I wanted to take a look at all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Platinum Chase variants out there. Here are all the sort of older Platinum Chase variants. Gold, bronze, unpainted, and then some newer versions. And then here are all the 2024 Platinum Chase variants. Boy, they released a lot last year, and I'm sure there's a ton to come this year. And then here are all the Platinum figures McFarlane has made in 2025. We have 3 Platinum Chase variants from the Collector's Edition, and then 2 Red Platinums. There are also 2 more Platinum Chase variants that are out there, which are Platinums of the Digital Wave Two-Face and Dr. Fate. They've been popping up at Walmarts, but have not hit my area yet. I'm on the hunt for those. If anybody has a lead on where I can get one, or can help me out, please drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. And then there are plenty of other Platinums coming. We've seen different rainbow versions of Batman, other Platinum variations of Batman, etc., etc. And I'm sure the next Collector's Edition will also have Platinums. Now let's check them out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the rest of his wave. We have the Titans Tempest, Shadowpact Nightmaster, Flesher Superman, and the Walter West Dark Flash. Here's Nightmaster, next to the most recent Batman movie wave. Both versions of the Batman Begins Batman, Michael Keaton Batman, and the Batman Begins Scarecrow. And here he is, next to the Flashpoint Thomas Wayne Batman versus Reverse Flash 2-pack. Then, next to the McFarlane Collector's Edition Wave 9, both regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Guy Gardner Green Lantern, Power Girl, and Captain Cold. And now, with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker and Franklin Murray 2-pack, here's Nightmaster next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Icon. And here he is with the Target exclusive gold label Wildcat and Orion. Then, with the most recent wave of page punchers, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Shazam and Captain Thunder, the comic version of the Christopher Reeve Superman, and both versions of the animated Red Hood. And now, with the King Kong vs. Batman 3-pack. And finally, next to the most recent Batman comic wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Silver Age Batman and the Noel Batman, the Platinum Batman vs. Spawn Batman, and all 3 versions of the Neo-Gothic Batman Beyond Batman. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys. Here's Nightmaster, next to some Red Hot Seasoning Blend. And here he is, with some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's an okay Nightmaster figure, but the truth is, I don't give a shit about Nightmaster. I've never even heard of him before, and even after reading about him, I still don't care about him. I do actually own the Shadowpact comic series, but I must confess I've never read it. I got it because Ragman was in it. It's an obscure character, and I love the obscure cuts. And it's pretty damn obscure if I've never heard of him, that's for sure. I'm a little bit more familiar with the Batman side of things. In addition to the fact that I don't particularly care about this character, I think the figure looks kind of dumb, kind of mediocre. It does look like Nightmaster from the comics, but I don't know, something about the head, the blue on the body, the little black dots, the kind of mediocre cape without the wire in it, just make him kind of a meh type figure. If I had to rate this guy, I'd probably give him a 6 out of 10. Just strikes me as mediocre. But, like I said, if making a platinum version of the 3-painted Blue Beetle is the only way to get a character like Nightmaster, then bring it on. Bring up some more characters like this. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say to the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.